Hi, this is Amy K. Watson, coach and CEO with Career Leadership Alignment. What I wanted to talk with you about today is how you talk to yourself. So this is something that I want you to start paying attention to. Just start listening to yourself on kind of a daily basis. This is a skill. It takes some practice to really listen to how you talk to yourself. I'm not talking about that stereotype of, I guess colloquially, it's called schizophrenia when you talk to yourself and you actually answer, or you see somebody walking down the street and they're just having a big conversation, and you kind of think, I hope they have a Bluetooth because otherwise I think they're crazy. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the chatter that happens inside your head. I'm also not talking about hearing voices. I'm just talking about, like, when you might say to yourself, oh, I really wish I'd done that better. Or, oh, please, I really hope this happens for me. That kind of thing. Okay. So, in particular, some of the times that you might be talking to yourself that I really would like for you to pay attention to how you talk to yourself. Uh, for instance, when there's something that you wanted to accomplish and you kind of do it, but it's not quite what you had hoped you would do. Maybe your performance is a little bit less than what you consider to be what you were going for. Do you talk to yourself like, oh man, why did I do that? I really should have done this or this, but there I go again. I suck. Or do you talk to yourself like, okay, I really tried. I'm glad that I tried. It was hard. And next time when I do it, I'll do it better. Another time that you might be talking to yourself that I'd really like for you to pay attention to is when say there's a conversation that you're wanting to have with someone, and you know that if you go into that conversation and you stay calm and rational, then you'll be able to offer a coherent argument, and they're going to be able to see the merits of what you're talking about, and you're going to bring them around to your side of the situation. But when you actually go in, you get nervous and kind of tongue tied, and then you start blaming them for something that, it's probably more complicated than that. But, in the moment, you just got so impassioned and frustrated. And so you wound up saying things that you probably shouldn't have said. When that happens, and that happens to all of us one way or another, how do you talk to yourself? Do you really just, oh God, why did I do that? I should keep my mouth shut. I should never go into those kinds of situations because I'm terrible. I should just let somebody else do that. Or do you tell yourself, okay, I kind of lost control of that one, but I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to go back to them. I'm going to tell them what I really wanted them to hear. I'm going to apologize for having said that thing that I shouldn't have said. And it may take a little time for us to recover, but it's going to be okay. Or is it some mixture of the two, or something else entirely? What about when things do go according to plan? You decided what you were going to do, and you actually do that. How do you talk to yourself? That one is probably one of the hardest ones to know. How do I talk to myself when I actually do stuff? Do you say to yourself, all right, Jones, that was good, let's keep going? Or do you say, all right, Jones, what's the next thing? Or do you say nothing? Do you even acknowledge it? Are you aware of the fact that you did what you decided to do? Is there any part of you that goes, yes? Or is all of you just focused with blinders on, looking at the next thing all the time? Okay, here's the last situation that I want you to just be aware of, pay attention to. When something that you worked really hard on actually comes through, maybe even bigger and better than what you were hoping for. Do you take time to celebrate that? Do you acknowledge it? Do you know it happened? Or do you actually resist the celebration? Do you resist people saying, way to go, that was awesome? Do you tell them, it was nothing? Do you tell yourself it was nothing? All right. I'm not going to teach anything about the consequences of that, but I will invite you to think about what happens with your energy after you have talked with yourself in those different ways. If something goes well, notice how you talk to yourself. And do you go to a high positive place? Do you go to a low positive place? Or based on how you talk to yourself, do you go to a high negative place or even a low negative place? Try as much as you can to become aware of those connections. It may help to record some of what's going on, just so that you can start to tune that awareness, become more able to hear what's happening in your body, in your heart, in your mind. Just as you become aware of what it feels like to have these different kinds of energy, and as you become more aware of how you're even thinking about things, how you're talking to yourself, how you're celebrating successes or not, how you are acknowledging failures or acknowledging unpleasant feelings or not. So the more you're able to combine your awareness of how you're feeling with your awareness of how you're thinking, the more you'll be able to see that when you are experiencing a higher quality of thinking, that happens at the same time as experiencing that more pleasant quality of emotion. And that way, you can begin to nudge yourself more and more towards more often having a higher quality of thinking and a more pleasant quality of feeling, which eventually winds up being a more effective experience on this planet. So I encourage you to hit subscribe, hit like on this video, watch more of these videos, become more and more aware of who you are as a person, because that awareness brings choice. All right, see you back here soon.